Hey guys, Miss Whitlock here. I just wanted to do a little pattern review for you. This first 9 weeks we've been working on patterns that involve addition and subtraction. On the board, this is what we call a function box, and this helps the kids get ready to complete an in-out table. So going in, they have the number 37. Coming out, they have the number 19. So the first thing we have to decide is when it came out, did the number increase or decrease? 37 to 19, it is decreasing. So we know that the rule for this function box is going to be something with subtraction. So I can cross out my answer choice that says add 19 because obviously it's decreasing, so we're subtracting. So now I need to find the difference between 37 and 19. So 37 minus 19. I can't take 9 ones from 7, so I'm going to trade 1 10 and add 10 ones to the 7 I have. So now I have 17 ones. 17 minus 9 is 8. And then 2 10s minus 1 10 is 1. So this function box is subtract 18. So the rule for this function box, like I said, is subtract 18. Our next function box, they started with 25. And then when it came out, it was 39. So again, the first thing we're going to do is determine, is my number getting larger or smaller? 25 to 39 is an increase, so we know the rule for this function box is going to be adding. So I can take away this subtraction choice. That's not going to work. All right, so again, I still need to find the difference between 25 and 39. Okay, so how many do I have to add to 25 to get to 39? So the difference between 39 and 25, 9 minus 5 is 4, 3 minus 2 is 1. So the rule would be add 14 because 25 plus 14 is 39. So that is giving me the output that came in the function box. So these function boxes help students prepare for what we call an input-output table or an in and out table. Alright, so looking at these input and output tables, this time the rules are listed. I'm going to try to zoom in just a little bit so we can just focus on one. And so hopefully the print is big enough for you. Alright, so looking at this input-output box, the rule is down at the bottom for me this time. I didn't have to figure out the rule. The rule says add 24. So when I'm looking at the input, I'm going to add 24 to get my output. So I have 34, and my rule says add 24, and that gives me my output. 4 plus 4 is 8, and 3 10s plus 2 10s is 5 10s. So my output for 34 plus my rule 24 equals 58. I'm going to do the same thing for 45. The rule says plus 24. So 45 plus 24. 5 plus 4 is 9, and 4 10s plus 2 10s is 6 10s. So the output for 45 plus my rule of add 24 equals 69. Now we're going to have to do the opposite because instead of giving me the input, it gave me the output. My output is 70. So I have to figure out what 24 plus what equals 70. So to find that out, I'm actually going to have to do the opposite operation as the rule, because we're working backwards. So this time I'm going to be looking at 70 minus 24. Let me move that where you can see. 70 minus 24. Again, I'm working backwards, doing the opposite operation because we're trying to find the input. And the rule is add 24 to the input. So 70 minus 24. I can't take 4 ones from 0. So I'm going to trade 1 10. So now I have 6 10s and traded that 1 10 for 10 ones. 10 minus 4 is 6, and 6 10s minus 2 10s is 4 10s. So 46. So let's check and see if this matches my rule. My rule is 46 plus 24. And if I did this correctly, I should get my output answer. So 6 ones plus 4 ones is 10. So I keep 0 ones and trade the 10 for 1 10. 1 plus 4 plus 2 10s is 7. So I've checked it. I know I'm correct. So I can replace my question mark with 46. Because I just proved that 46 plus 24 does give me the output of 70. I'm going to flip this over and we're going to look at an in and output box that does not have the rule. So the first thing you have to do is look at your input, compare it to your output. Is the number getting larger or smaller? My input's a 5, the output's a 2. So that tells me that my rule is going to be subtraction because whatever I do to the input, a smaller number comes out. So looking at that, I'm going to say 5 minus 2 gives me what? 5 minus 2 is 3. Okay, so let's check. So I know that my rule, because 3 plus 2 gives me 5, so my rule must be minus 3. All right, so now I have 7. So 7 minus 3 is going to give me 4. My rule is minus 3. So 5 minus 3 equals 2. 7 minus 3 equals 4. Okay, but now, instead of giving me the input, they gave me the output. So I have to work backwards because I'm saying whatever the number is, minus 3 equals 9. So I have to do the opposite operation of subtraction, which is addition. So 9 plus 3 is 12. Now check my work. 12 minus 3 does give me 9. Okay, so down here I'm saying whatever minus 3 gives me 13. So I do the opposite operation to my output. 13 plus 3 equals 16. So 16 minus 3 does equal 13. So I know I've done that input-output correctly. The next type of patterns that we've been working on are just number patterns. And actually, I'm not going to use that sheet. I'm going to use what they have on their tic-tac-toe. And I'm going to try to make it, let me line it up, sorry. All right, this is actually on their tic-tac-toe that they have for homework. I have my number pattern, 154, 148, 142, 136. Okay, I've got to decide, are my numbers getting smaller or are they getting larger? The numbers are going down, so that tells me that I'm going to be subtracting because this 9 weeks we're just working with addition and subtraction in our patterns. Okay, so I know I'm going to be subtracting, so I'm going to go ahead and write my operation down. So now I've got to find the difference between the numbers. So 154 minus 148. I can't take 8 ones from 4, so I trade 1 10. That leaves me with 4 10s. And add 10 ones to 4. I have 14 ones minus 8, which leaves me with 6. 4 minus 4 is 0, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So I'm subtracting 6. Before I start trying to find my next patterns, I'm just going to check myself. Okay, so now from 148, if I minus 6 from 148, do I get 142? 8 minus 6 is 2. And 4 minus nothing is 4, and 1 minus nothing is 1. So I am correct. The pattern is continuing minus 6. So now it tells me to find the next 3 numbers. I have to come back to the pattern. The last number that was there was 136. So the next number would be 136 minus 6, which is 130. 130 minus 6 would be 124. And then 124 minus 6, my rule, would be 118. And the last question says, what would the 10th number in the sequence be? So let's go back up to the top, trying to move nice and slowly. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers so far in the pattern. 5, 6, 7 numbers in the pattern. So I need to find out not the 8th number, not the 9th number, but the 10th number. So I would have to subtract 6 3 more times. So I know that if I subtract 6 3 more times, 6 plus 6 plus 6 gives me 18. So instead of having to sit there and subtract 6 3 times, I could just go ahead and say the 8th, 9th, and 10th to get to the 10th. I subtract 6 3 more times, which is the same thing as subtracting 18 from 118. And the 10th number would be 100. One more pattern I want to show you is a growing pattern. So I got to zoom out just a little bit to fit this. This is a little bit bigger. Sorry, just a second. All right, hopefully I've got that clear now. All right, it says add another row of balls to the figure that would match the problem. So if you look, each row, they're adding one ball, but they're not straight on top of each other. They're staggered. So we have 1, 2 balls, 3 balls, 4 balls. So the next row would have 5 balls. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the last part of that question says, create a number pattern to match the figure. Well, first I had 1, then I had 2, then I had 3 balls in the row, 4 balls in the row, 5 balls in the row. So this pattern, if we related it to numbers, it's just increasing by 1 each time. I hope this helps, and I hope you have a great evening. Thanks so much for tuning in.